Hi everyone, this is Asha Singh, and welcome back to this channel and to this new series that I'll be starting, which is known as AI ML Roadmap. So it's a very basic if you want to crack into the AI tech industry. So today we'll be starting with Python fundamentals. So Python is basically a holy grail for anything to do in the AI tech industry. A few years back, R is also a very mainstream language which was majorly used to develop the AI systems, but right now everything has faded and only Python has persist. So we will be starting with Python. So stay tuned and hopefully I'll see you all there for the last session of this series and we'll do good things, great things together. Okay, so I'll be starting with Python, like with the very basic introduction of Python. What is it? So Python is a very popular high-level interpreted programming language known for its simplicity and readability. So if you guys have remember, like I'm not sure like what is the experience you guys will be getting here, but from the very beginning, like initially we used to have like 0 1 because the machine understands that, right? Then we had assembly language, then we created more user friendly language. We started with C, then we had C++, and there were a lot of other compiled languages, and then we had this interpreted languages, which is one of them is Python, and it's very popular because it is English like, how you read English language, because English is a very well known language. It is, I think, it is it is understandable by I think almost 80% of the world population. So Python is a very provides a good readability. Second is it's very versatile. So if you see in any sector today, whether it's web development, data science, ML, AI, automation, or even game development, or even the NASA scientific computing societies, they are using Python as their base language. So it's highly versatile, uh, and also it has a huge community. So if you just go to your any browser and if you search Python, you will see that the whole community of Python is pretty huge. It has like so many versions till today that I don't think I'll ever remember those, but it's a huge community. It's an open source community, and where you can ask question, get a lot of things resolved. uh, Next, it has a very intensive libraries, like anything and everything is there. You have libraries for third party packages, frameworks available that you can integrate with it. So it's a huge library basically. Like I think there's very few things that are not there that you cannot integrate with Python, but I think almost everything is integratable with Python. Platform independence. So there are the code runs on Windows, Mac OS, Linux with little to no modification. So if you see the main site, so here you can like easily download the versions. Where can I? Yeah, here. So if you see, so it provides downloads for every OS, and you can easily download it whether for Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, Android, or other. So yeah, and it's high in demand. So it's a language that keeps updating itself. It's keep upgrading for every little tweaks that are happening in the industry. So it's highly upgradable. So it's a always in demand language. Okay. Second thing is about how you can install it on your machine. So if you are whether on Mac OS or on Linux, Unix, Windows, you can like easily it's an easily installable language. So there are multiple ways you can do it. First is like install locally on Mac OS. If you want to install locally, so from here you can just click on this one, and you can download any stable release. Okay, similar for Linux, Windows, Android, and others. Okay, you can do it. I'll share this document, don't worry, so you can like just make use of it. So whether you are on Mac OS, you can, whether you are on Mac OS, Windows, you can like install it locally, or you can use Anaconda. It's also like a well used distribution. Anaconda, you just need to update, download it, and it will like install everything for you, and you can just open an Jupyter notebook. Okay, third is, next method is, you can also like, if you don't want to like download Anaconda or anything, you can directly create, like install a Jupyter notebook. uh, this is like you can directly install it using pip. So pip is basically a package manager, yeah, like we have npm and so on. Next is using Python in Visual Studio. So it's a very well known distributor, Visual Studio, or maybe you can try PyCharm or something like that. You can also do that. So here, like it gives, like I have mentioned little bit details how you can do it, but any other form or anywhere you can run a Python code is good. Okay. Next is like this Python Google Colab. So this is something that, like, this is the place where we are going to be doing it, like most of the time, like all the work that you are going to see with me, we are mostly going to do it on the Colab, Google Colab. So it's basically a free version. Okay, you just need to have a Google account, and in the drive you could see it, something like that. Okay, and you just need to like open, if you create just like a new notebook. I think I have mentioned that here as well, yeah. So the moment you will click on it, so it will create a new notebook for you. And if you see like it has like upgraded a lot since like its first conception. So we will be moving with the AI and ML thing. So here it also had like those GPUs to run, and it's a very good, I think, idea for sure, for at least for our project, that our roadmap that we are going to do. Okay, so here I'll give you a brief walkthrough of it if you are not aware of it. Okay, so here there is the settings, you can go through it. AI assistant if you want it, or if you don't, there are also paid versions also, you if you want to take them. I think the free one will be sufficient. If you have GitHub, you can connect to it, and the other things. Mostly we'll be working with these cells. It is almost, this is like same as Jupyter that we like used to do. But yeah, the only drawback with Colab is it requires internet connection to run. But if you want to do it offline, you can install Python locally, or you can use Jupyter Notebook. Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay. So run through here. So if you see at the left hand side, there are a few sections. So first one is the table of content. Whatever you will be creating here, it will show you here. Second is if you want to find something. Third is if you want to filter anything. This is about this. I think we won't be using this one, but if we do, like, we'll go through it again together. Yeah, this is an important section. Okay, it is loading. So yeah, so here we will be storing our files that we can use in the in our throughout our coding. Okay. uh yeah, also if you see it, like whenever you create a new cell, so there you will get a option to generate with AI, so you can make help of it. Okay, so right now we are today, the tech industry or the industry in itself, as I think every industry is is leveraging AI, and it's a great tool. So this is Gemini, Google Gemini. If you prefer ChatGPT, Perplexity, or if any other AI you prefer, I think I'd suggest you to go with it because it's a great help. And if you are stuck somewhere, you can always like message me. But at the same time, you can always do a little bit of research here and there, and that will help you. Okay, yeah. So this is the basic walkthrough to this. I think this is almost same as Jupyter notebook. Yeah. Okay, I'm closing this one and I'm coming back to here. So like discussed, so we'll be working with Google Colab, okay, most of the time. Okay, yeah, let's come back to the Python thing. So I hope you got the basic understanding, like why we are learning Python instead of some other language. Yeah. And second, the installation stuff. Okay, so once you have like your installation ready and everything, so you can like try to run this command to check whether everything is working on your side or not. Okay, so this is a very basic command. So if it is printing something, that means your setup is successful and you can move to the next step. Okay, yeah. Next is Python basics. So think of it learning Python as if you are learning any other language. Maybe it's Hindi or Japanese or something like that, right? So in every language there's some structure, right? There's some alphabets and things like that. So similar to that, here also we have some syntax, some basic things. Okay, so basic syntax is Python uses indentation instead of braces. So if you are familiar with languages like C, C++, Python, so there we used to have braces like this. So for example, if you are defining a function, so they used to like there we used to do something like this. Okay, sorry. So something like this. If you see here, it will throw an error because it's not needed here. So if I just write a simple function to print hello, okay, so if I run it, it will throw an error because this is unexpected here. Okay, here we can directly just create it like that. Yeah, something yeah, in uses indentation instead of braces for the code blocks. Indentation is basically 4 spaces, or you can use tab also. Okay, second, output in Python we generally use print function. I think in Java we used to have system.out. In C we used to have printf, and similarly here we have print statement. Okay, next is comment. So comment in Python can be created in 2 ways: a single line comment and multiple line comment. So if a single line comment, you can just start with a hash. If there are multi-line comments, you can start with 3 quotes and end it with 3 quotes. Okay, so you'll see this in just a second here. So if you see, this is basically a simple like syntax output and comment. So this is how we define a variable. Don't worry what is x, y, and how it is working here. We'll go into brief later on. Okay, so this is how we define it. So this is a multi-line comment that we have created. This is a single line comment starting with hash. I have defined a variable x which has contained a value 10. Okay, and this is a variable assignment. We'll talk about it later, what is it and how it is working. And this is also there is also a single line comment. Okay, next I have created a variable y which is storing a value of 5. Okay, then I am creating a block. It's a code block. Okay, the main thing here to remember is how we are using indentation. Okay, instead of braces. Earlier what we used to do this, but now In Python, we make use of four spaces: one, two, three, four. Okay, or simply a tab. Okay, and again there is a single line comment. Second, we talked about the output, how we print the values. So we do it with print. Yeah. So if I run this, it will show me hello world. It will show me sum of 10 plus 5 is x plus y. Don't worry about how it's working. So basically it's going to add this 10 because x is 10 and y is 5, so it should print 15. Okay, and there is another print statement which is just saying that my name is John, and when we run it, it will just print it. Okay, so if I run this cell, so you see, so the first section is this one, and what is it doing here? If I think it's very English like, so you should understand it, you should be able to understand it. So x is greater than y, so what is x? 10. And what is y? 5. So 10 is greater than 5, which is true, right? So it should print x is greater than y. Yeah. Second, we did make another print statement which is like simple saying hello world. Next, we made another print statement which says sum of 10 plus 5 is 15, right? Because x is 10, y is 5, so 10 plus 5 is 15. Next, there is another print statement which says my name is John. If you see, like after this print statement, there are multiple lines, but none of them were printed. Why? Because all of these are single line comments. Okay, so that's why it did not print it. Yeah. Okay. Next topic is variables and data types. So variables in Python are used to store data values. Okay, so if you see here, so we have defined like x is equal to 10, right? So x is a variable and 10 is a value. So we need to, like we I think let's very simply, I think you all have understood it, but still, so how we do math calculations since our childhood? We do a plus b is equal to c, right? So that a plus b is equal to c, so c is equal to a plus b, so we are assigning the value of a plus b to c, right? Similarly here also, so x is a variable which contains the value of 10. Yeah, so these are called variables. Yeah. uh yeah. Okay, so coming back again to other languages. So this is, you can create variables. So x is equal to 1, name equals to John, pi equals to 3.14, and is active is equal to true. So x is equal to 10, it's a integer value, right? Name equals to John, it's a string or a text. Pi equals to 3.14, it's a float value or a decimal value. Yeah, and is active is equal to true, it's a boolean thing, right? If this happens, that happens, something like that. So true or false. So these are the different data types. Yeah, and we'll talk about what are data types. So data types, I think the phrase in itself is very complete. So it defines the type of the data. So here x is equal, when I'm writing x is equal to 10, so the data type of x should be number. Okay, in Python we have three um, major data types. A singular data type basically. So you can either, like, you can define it as a number or as a float, or I think these are the two integers values that we have. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so the common data types in Python, we have integer, int, whole numbers, for example age is equals to 25, float, decimal number, temperature equals to 36.7, string or text, text enclosed in quotes. For example, here we have mentioned city equals to Delhi. So here you can see it as in double quotes, right? You can also have it single quotes. Next we have boolean. uh, it can only have two values, either 0 or 1, and it is represented by true or false. So if something is true, then it is 1. If something is false, it is 0. Yeah. And we have some more data collections, list, tuples, dictionary. Don't worry, we'll discuss all of these in detail, so it's just to give you a brief overview. Yeah. Next is how we can check the data type in Python if you want to check the data type of something. So for example, if I mention type x and I have defined x equals to 10, right? So it should show me that it is an integer type. Yeah. Similar for the other. One more topic is reassigning variables. So in Python, if so, for example, here I have defined x is equal to 10, and then I have defined x is equal to, now I am a string. So if I print the latest value of x, it should print now I am a string. Okay, so it allows dynamic typing, meaning that the type of the variable can change at runtime. Okay, now we'll start with the lab. And yeah, so like we have discussed above, so creating and printing a variables, for example, x equals to 10. Yeah. And yeah, y equals to, let's say, define John, and let's again define another string which is in single quotes. Okay, to just see that whether it's working or not. Okay, now let's just simply print it. Okay, x comma str1 comma str2. Okay, so if I print it, you see it is showing me it is working correctly. So x is 10, string 1 is John, and string 2 is John. So let's make it something John Doe. Yeah, let's try it. So it is again like it's working fine, whether it's single quotes or it is double quotes. Now let's check the data type of them. So like we discussed above, so how to check the data type? It's simply we do type of x, type of str1, and type of str2. Yeah. So if I do that, so it should show me that 10 is an integer type, right? John is a string type, and Doe is a string type again. Let's define two more data types that we have discussed. Pi equals to 3.14, and is student equals to, let's say, true. Okay, and let's print these two as well. Pi comma is underscore student. Yeah. Okay, so if I print it, so it will show me 10 John Doe 3.14 true, which are the values that are stored here, that I've created here. Okay, now again let's print their type. This Pi and type is underscore student. Yeah. Okay, so once I do that, so it should, yeah, so 3.14 is float, which is decimal, and true, it's a boolean. So let's say if I change the value of these. Okay, let me just do something like that. If I just copy it and then I paste it here, and I just reassign the values like we discussed above. So how should they work, right? 3.1466. Okay, and it should be false. Yeah. So if I now print it, you will see the values have changed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Next we'll discuss about typecasting. Or so let's say I have a variable defined as num1 equals to 3.14. Okay, now if I print the num1 and the type of it, So it will show me, what should I it show? It will show me that it's a float, right? Yeah, so it will show me that it's a float. Let's say if I want to change it to an int, so what can I do? So num2 equals to int of 3 point, no sorry, int of num. Okay, I did this, and then I just print the num2 and the type. So now let's check again. So now it is showing the value is 3 and the type is int. Why? Because I did the typecasting. So basically what I did, I created another variable num2, and I have passed the first variable which has the value of 3.14 and casted it in a int variable. Okay, that's how you can do typecasting. Okay, next is get the type. So I think we have already discussed how we can do that. We can simply do a type and we can pass a variable, for example x, and I think x is something, yeah. So if I just do that, we'll see the type. Yeah, okay. Yeah, next defining single and double quote string. I think this is also we have covered above, so which is this. So if I simply do this, both are valid, and if I'm, yeah, so both are valid, John1 and Do1. Let's change a little bit. So for example, now you want to, for example, now you want to print this. I have a BTech degree. Yeah, so how you can store it? There are two ways. Okay, so one way is you do this, and okay, let's try it, and yeah, it works. But now let's say you want to uh, change it to, I have a BTech degree in finance. I have a BTech, sorry, I have a BTech degree in computer science. See what I have done? So I have created a double quotes and then I have created a single quote. Now what I want to do is I want to create a string. So how I can do it? Yeah. So everything is same, but for this single quote I have added a escape character. Okay. Now if I print it, it will work. But if I keep it like that, for example, I have created this, and if I will keep it like that, sorry, yeah, if I keep it like that, it will throw an error because it's an invalid syntax. But if I add the escape characters, it will work fine. Yeah, that's how you can add multiple quotes and multiple single quotes, multiple double quotes, or whatever inside a string. Yeah, okay. Next topic is about the case sensitivity of variables. For example, I have created a variable name with all small letters, which is having a value of John. Okay, and I've created a variable with a capital name which is containing the value of Do. So if I print both these, so they should print the value of name should contain the value of John, and name should contain the value of Do. So you have noticed one thing, that the variables are case sensitive. Okay, the lowercase and the uppercase they are treated differently. Okay. Okay. Second is the next is about valid and invalid variables in. Okay, so like we have discussed. So what are variable name? It's a place where we are storing the values, right? So a equals to 2, basically something like that. So a is a variable where I'm storing the value of 2. Okay. So now um basically by Python, if you this is the main site again. So if you go to the this documentation, so it contains a huge documentation. Like you can like start with the very beginner's guide and everything, and will be here. Okay. So how to define the variable? There are rules for it. So if you want to see, you can just go here and maybe you can do a little bit of search. Yeah, and it will show you how to create a variable. Okay, right now I'm not able to say it. Variable, something like this. Let's search. Okay. It's not working, but that's fine. Okay, so basically there are rules how do we create, because we cannot write something. So we have written a is equal to 2, but we cannot write equals to 2. It's an invalid, right? So if I run it, so it will throw an error that what is it, it cannot decode it. But if you write it as b and run it, it will work fine because it's valid variable name. So there are rules that you should follow. So basically a variable name can like yeah, so basically a variable name must start with a letter or an underscore character. It cannot start with a number. For example, if you do 2b equals to 2, so again it will throw an error. So it cannot start with a number. So it can only contain alphanumeric characters or underscore. Okay. Apart from that, it cannot contain anything else. For example, if you mention something like be at, so it will work. So it's an alphanumeric. Okay, so yeah, it will work. Variable names are case sensitive. I think we have already discussed this point, that small letters, capital letters, or lowercase, they will be treated differently. Okay, and a variable name cannot be any of the Python keywords. So if you go and check for the Python keywords, so there is a list. Okay, for example, these are the list of the Python keyword. So if we want to define for example, if we want to define none equals to 2, so it's an invalid because none is a keyword. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is the list. Apart from these, if you have any other valid name, you can use it as a variable name. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Assign multiple variables in a single line. So right now what we are doing, we are creating a equals to 1, b equals to 2, c equals to 3, and then we are like, let's say we are printing it a, b, and c. We can do this thing in a single line as well. For example, a comma b comma c equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3, and it will remain the same. Let's name them different. 1 2 3. Okay, so if I and change the values as well, 4 5 and 6, so it should show me, it should work fine, right? If I define it something like this, or even if I'm defining it something like this, the both are same. Yeah. Okay, next is one value to multiple variables. For example, if I write something like a equals to b equals to c equals to 10, so a, b and c will all contain the value of 10. Okay, let's rename them to something else because we already have these variable defined above. Just a second, sorry for the confusion. Yeah, so the moment we print it will show me 10 because I have did assignment onto assign. So this, so first it will get assigned. So 3c, now c3 equals to 10, right? So b3 becomes 10 and a3 becomes 10. So all the values is 10. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, next is unpacking a list of variables. Okay, to understand it, I think in other languages you must have heard of arrays. So how we define it in Python is, for example, I have a list in which I have defined three items which contains 1, 2 and 3, and now I want to store these items into different variables. So how I can do that? Similar to this, instead of just mentioning 1, 2, 3, I just mention the list. So now if I print it, and I do C4 and C5, sorry, C4, it should print me 1, 2 and 3, right? This is how you can unpack it. So these are very few, like these are very minute things, but these will be very helpful when you are building a big project, because there these things comes very handy, like they're very quick to do. So that's why we're discussing it. Okay, yeah, next is outputting variables. I think this is also we are, this is something we are doing. So we are defining variables and then we are printing it. Okay, so that's simple, you can do it. You have, for example, you have defined, let's take some other variable. Till now we are working with numbers. Let's say there's a variable that I have defined as name equals to John. Yeah, and then there is another variable age that I have defined as 25. Now if I'm printing it, if I'm doing something like print name comma age, so what it will do, it will print name and it will print 25. Okay, yeah, but what if I want to print it something like my name is John and my age is 25? So one way to do it is I simply do this. Yeah, another way is I create a variable string and I create a string variable and I do print string 1 and it will also work. But what I want to do is I want to use name and age. So then how should I do that? So another way I can do it is print my name is, then there's a comma, is John and I am, and my age is, make sense? If I run it, so it will show me my name is John and my age is 25. It works, right? Okay, okay, next topic we'll discuss is global variables. Okay, so just try to understand the concept, don't get into details like how it's happening and everything, because you might not understand. We'll have a different concept here which is called functions that we'll discuss later on, but just try to grasp the concept. Okay, so basically global variables are the variables that are created outside the function, and they can be used inside or outside the function as well. Okay, for example, I have created a variable equals to 10. Now if I print it, it will give me the value variable 1, right? It's fine, right? That we have already understood. Now for example, I have created a function. So this is how we create a function. So def, it's a keyword, that's how it indicates that it is starting a function. So def, then we mention a function name. Let's name it function name 1, and then we define whatever we want to define here. So for example, I want to print variable 1, yeah, and then this is how I've defined the function. Now I want to call it. So how I can call it is simply I mention function name 1, yeah. Now if I print it, if I run it, so it will print me 10, yeah. Now let's say I redefined it and I say variable 1 equals to 20. I redefined it inside the function name, yeah, and then I print it, so it will show me 20. But something is changed now. This is fine, but if I print variable 1 again, so it, what it should print, right? So variable 1 was 10 earlier, then there's a function created, variable 2 1 is updated to 20, and now I'm printing variable 1 again. So what should it become? Should it become 20 or should it be 10 itself? So what I think, it should be 10 itself, because this 20 we have created inside a variable. Okay, so this is how we can create the global variable, yeah. And second variable is a local variable. So local variable is something, so for example, I have created, let's say I've created a function, another function name, function name 2, and I have defined a variable 2, and then I'm printing it. Okay, so if I print it, it should print me 30, yeah, it should print me 30. But here if I print variable 2, let's check what it will print. It is giving us an error. And why is that? Is because we have created this variable inside a function, so its scope is limited. I know this thing might be confusing a little bit, but don't worry, we'll discuss it in detail a little bit later. But for now, just try to understand the concept of a local variable and a global variable. Okay, so here I have defined this variable inside this def block, so its scope become little. But for example, if I move it from here to here, now let's see what happens. If I moved it here and let's run it again, so it should print me 30, yeah, because the scope becomes global again. Okay, let's keep it here, so if you guys go through it later, you will have it. So right now it will throw an error. It should throw an error. Why it's not throwing an error? Let's try again. Something has changed. Let's define it to some other variable. Yeah, this will throw an error. Okay, next topic is global, defining global variable with global with global keyword. So you saw the problem that happened here. Now let's again create one more function. Let's name it this 3. I'm sorry that we are creating a lot of variables. Okay, now let's name it a variable 6, and here let's call it. So if I run it and let's change the value to 60, so it will print me the value 60, right? It works. But now let's define this variable, and like, yeah, again, let me, if I check the variable 6 here, it should throw me an error, right? Because it is not defined. I have not defined the variable. Yeah. But now let's make this variable as global. Again, it's a keyword somewhere here. So we, yeah. Now define this variable as a global variable. So now if I run it, it will, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. So that's how you define a variable, global variable. So you define it as a global variable, and then you assign it as a value. Okay, now we run it. So it works fine, like earlier and later. Yeah. Next is constant in Python. So if you remember, if you know, like if you have um, gone through another languages, whether it's Java, C++, C, so there we have the concepts of constant, like the word itself says. So it's a value that does not change throughout the program. So normally we define it using this const keyword, but in Python there is no such thing as constant. Yeah, you can use a variable and you can use it everywhere. Yeah, that's how you use constant in Python. There is no such keyword for constant. So if you see this list as well, there is no such keyword here. You will not see any such keyword here. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully this all makes sense to you, and I know it's a lot, but I try to cover every little thing. These things does like sound a bit minute and they can easily slip by, but I promise you, if you grasp them, if you understand them in a bigger project, these little things makes a lot of difference. Yeah. Okay. Next topic is data types. If you see above in this example, I think we have discussed a lot of them. Integer, string, float, boolean. Yeah. So again, let's discuss these in a little bit detail. I think not in detail, because I think we'll be discussing them in detail later on. But I think we have discussed all these points above as well. Yeah, I think, yeah, we have covered these above as well. For example, like how you define uh, a string variable, or a variable with a string data type is, for example, str equals to 1. We define it whether in a single quote or in a double quote. Yeah, so it works both ways. 1 comma string 2, this is how we define the variables uh, in Python. Yeah, string variable. Next is float. Let's define as number 1 equals to, let's say, 2, it's an integer. Number 2 equals to 3.14, it's a float, right? And if I just print it, num1 comma num2, it will show me the value. So yeah, it's fine. Next we have discussed the boolean type. Let's say bool1 equals to true and bool2 equals to false, and if I just print it bool1 comma bool2, it should print me. Yeah. So one thing, so let's say if I change it to small true and try it again, it will not work. So the boolean are specifically mentioned as capital true, capitalize the first letter true, and false, capitalize the first letter false. Okay, that's how you define boolean. Getting the data type, I think we already discussed it, but let's try it again. We can get the data type using the type function. Okay, so if I pass str1 to it, it will show me the data type of string1, which is string. Str1, which is string. Okay, similarly we can print for all others as well. Let's quickly do it. String 2, num1, num2, bool1, and bool2. Okay, this will print me the type of everything. So this is a string type, this is a string type, this is a int type, and this is a float type, this is again a boolean type, and this is a boolean type, right? It all makes sense. Now this is also we have discussed how we can set a specific data type. For example, for example, I have a variable num3 which is defined as a value of 2.9866, and if I want to change it to integer, so I can simply do it int of num3. That's how I can change it. So what I did, I changed a float to int, right? So yeah, so now if I do print num3 comma type of num3, it should show me 2.96 and the type should be float. Yeah, and if I print num4 and type of num4, it should show me 2 and type int. Okay, we can also do a vice versa as well. For example, I have created a num5 with a value 5 and a num6 to move it to a float. So now what we are doing is changing int to float. Simply you will do 5, 6, same repetition, 5, 6. Now I will check it. So what we have done, okay, maybe I think, yeah, should be 5. Okay, yeah, so from 5 into it has changed to 5.0 to float. Now if what will happen if we try to change integer to string? Let's try it. Let's define a number 7 equals to 10. Now I am defining a string equals to str, yeah, yes. So let's see if it works or not. Yeah, it works, right? So but what has happened is it has changed the string to string. Let's try the versa. Yeah, let's say str4 equals to hi. Now if we try to make it a number, the 4 equals to int of str4. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it give a value error because we cannot convert a string to a int. Okay, let's try one more thing. So it basically it will throw an error. Let's try one more to change from, let's say, string to, let's say I defined a string 5 which is hello, and let's make it boolean. Okay, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to change string to boolean. Let's see if it works or not. So again, okay, something happened here. Yeah, so the reason here it is throwing error because here we are making the conversion, right? Yeah, so if now let's work, so it works because if, why it works, let me tell you why it works. So this is something, right? So let's say if I replace it with empty, now it should change the value to false. See, you see? Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, I think let's conclude our first class here. I think we have talked about a lot of fundamentals, and these are very basics. I think you guys have already know it, and if you want to skip it, it will work as well. But I'll suggest you to just go through it. I think these are very minor things, but they do make a lot of difference when you're working in a bigger project. So yeah, up to you if you want to go through it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next session. Bye.